Okay, get this. What if I told you that doctors once actually told people to smoke cigarettes for their health? Or that huge companies openly sold cocaine as a medicine for kids? I know, it sounds completely nuts, but it is absolutely true. So let's dive into this wild, unbelievable history of medicine and see how things we know are deadly today were once marketed as miracle cures. I mean, just look at this. It's shocking to see, right? But for a while, cocaine wasn't some back alley drug. It was an over-the-counter remedy you could just go out and buy. Ads were literally encouraging parents to give it to their children, promising instant relief and a calm, happy kid. And this really just sums it all up, doesn't it? The journey from medical miracle to dangerous narcotic is just staggering. It really makes you stop and wonder, how on earth did we get it so wrong? All right, so let's start with our first case study here, the cocaine miracle. We're talking about the late 1800s and early 1900s, both in America and Europe. Cocaine was totally legal, and honestly, people saw it as this incredible modern marvel of medicine. So let's take a closer look at what this stuff actually was. Just imagine for a second, your kid is screaming their head off from a toothache. You're desperate. Then a company sells you cocaine tooth drops, promising an instant cure. And you know what? It worked. Within minutes, the pain was just gone. For a parent in that situation, it must have felt like an absolute miracle. The marketing was, well, brilliant and completely one-sided. While the ads were shouting about all these amazing benefits, more energy, no more pain, a better mood, there was just this deafening silence about the risks. Not a single mention of side effects, no warnings about addiction. Because back then, there were no laws forcing these companies to tell you the whole truth. And that is the real tragedy here. Parents weren't being negligent. They were doing what they thought was best for their kids, based on the so-called medical advice of the day. They thought they were using a safe, modern solution, totally unaware that this instant cure was really a sweet poison that could kickstart a lifetime of devastating addiction. But, of course, the era of medical cocaine couldn't last forever. As you can see, when the shift happened, it happened fast. For decades, these things were common household items, but as addiction rates started to skyrocket, the public and the government just couldn't ignore the danger anymore. The Harrison Narcotics Act in 1914 didn't just restrict cocaine, it basically wiped these products off legal store shelves seemingly overnight. Now, if you think that was shocking, our next example, well, it takes things to a whole other level. Let's fast forward to the 1940s and 50s, when the tobacco industry weaponized public trust in the most cynical way you can possibly imagine. Yep, you're seeing that right. More doctors smoke Camels. This wasn't some little suggestion in a small print ad. This was the giant headline of a massive advertising campaign. It's just a masterpiece of manipulation, right? The very people we trust with our health are telling us they choose this brand. The psychology behind this was actually pretty simple, but man, was it powerful. People trusted their doctors, like completely. So the logic was almost inescapable. Hey, if my doctor smokes, it can't be that bad for me. And if most doctors choose Camels, well, that must be the safest, best option out there. It was a calculated move to make smoking seem like a safe, even doctor-approved choice. And this went way beyond just a few ads. It was a whole systematic campaign. I mean, look at this playbook. They weave themselves right into the fabric of the medical community, sponsoring events, giving out free cartons of cigarettes to physicians. They created this unbreakable illusion of credibility and safety. But eventually, science catches up. By the 1960s, the evidence was just overwhelming. The research was undeniable. It showed a direct, deadly link between smoking and lung cancer. And all those industry claims just crumbled under the sheer weight of the truth. And that led to some pretty decisive action. In 1971, the US government finally stepped in and completely banned cigarette ads from television and radio. Not long after that, those health warnings on the packages became mandatory, and it changed the entire game for how these products could be sold. You know, these stories, cocaine for kids, doctors pushing cigarettes, they're more than just shocking history lessons. They raise a really important question for us, right now. What have we actually learned from all this? And how can we apply those lessons today? Because let's be real, while you're not going to see these specific ads anymore, the strategies behind them, they haven't really gone anywhere. There are still countless companies out there selling us products with bold, amazing promises about our health and well-being. So What can we do about it? All right, here's how we can protect ourselves. Think of this as your modern toolkit. Step 1 is just healthy skepticism. Always question the promises you see in an ad. Step 2, become your own investigator. Do some independent research. But the most powerful tool of all, just remembering this one fundamental truth. An ad's goal is not your health, it's your wallet. These stories from our past are a really powerful warning. They remind us that we have to be critical, we have to be skeptical, and we have to be our own advocates when it comes to our health. Because as history has shown us again and again, by the time the whole truth finally comes out, it can often be far, far too late.